Ah, yes. The sounds of AC/DC. And for the last time that we'll be talking about the Steelheads, one of our favorite, James Richmond. Tell me that's not true. Tell me it won't be. There's always next year. James Richmond up next.
Tailhead suits, shoe-thread cars, top-notch goalies, defenseman large. He don't quit, won't give up. He'll take the trout upstream to a memorial cup. Up to the Sioux and out to the Peace. So what do? You go to the feet. It's Friday night. The Paramount. The Steelheads will beat you. They'll knock you right out. Come on, listen to James Richmond. Come on, listen when James Richmond talks. Come on, listen to James Richmond. Come on, listen when James Richmond talks.
Yes. And we talked to the head coach and general manager of our Mississauga Steelheads. JR, how you doing, buddy?
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Well, you know what? We've had a chance. We talked to Liam yesterday, and the one thing that is pretty obvious in talking to those young men, like, no one wants to get swept. But, if you didn't see the series and you see Fort Cobb, you'd assume it wasn't that competitive. I don't think that was true at all. I think the guys always felt that, they had a chance. They'd be in every game. There was some weird bounces. The hockey gods from time to time weren't that helpful for our guys. But the reality was they understand that they were building something this year. I mean, it was sort of the start of something. So they're looking forward to next year already. To a man, it seems that way.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you get beat Fort Cobb, you better start looking forward to something. So, unfortunately, that's the way it went. I don't think it was. I don't think it was a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. But you've got to be better, and we've tried to go back and look at it and review it and say, how can we be better as coaches, and what can we do to win hockey games. So if you go back and look at the series, we were pretty good analytically. That's what our people say, and but we got to find ways to win hockey games. So give credit where credit is due. Their goalie, the Finnish goalie was real good, and we got to find a way to beat them. So look forward to next year now.
Yeah, so when you do that, and we had Liam on, they talked about the exit interviews. I always wondered how that went. What are you asking those guys? Are you saying things like, if you were a character on Game of Thrones, which guy would you be? What are you asking these guys?
You'd be up on the wall or something? No.
Yeah, you want those knights. You want the watchmen or whatever they're called. Yeah, absolutely you do. Absolutely.
Yeah, you do. No, really, you're talking to them about their season. You ask them about how they thought their own personal season went, what their thoughts are on the team, how the team was, and then what do they think of the team moving forward, where they want to be as a person, as a hockey player next year. And those are the type of things. Now, the funny thing was 23 of the 24 guys that went through the exit meeting had said a similar thing, was that this year was the tightest team that they've ever been on. So for us, that's a big plus, because we're trying to change the culture. That's what Elliot Kerr brought me in to do, was to change the culture of the Steelheads, and we're well on our way. If 23 of 24 guys are saying this tightest group they've ever been part of. So we were young. We're going to be back as a group, and we'll be tighter than ever.
Coach, so you have the exit interview. How much contact are you going to have with players in the next 2 or 3 months leading up to training camp in August?
Yeah, not too much. I'm sure they need a break from me. So I'll talk to them a couple times over the summer, each guy, just to see how they're doing, and we'll have a fitness test sometime in June, just to see where they are. After we have our big draft this Saturday, so then we'll have a fitness test in June, have everybody come in, and then we'll see them again late August. But over the summer, I'll send them a text or I'll give them a call just to see how they're doing, see everything's holding up and what they're doing over the summer. But really, it's they need a break.
Sure,
they need a break from me.
You need a break too, though, right?
Yeah, I'm a pretty intense guy when it comes to trying to make them better and help them reach their goals. So it'll be it's a long summer, that's for sure. When you get beat out 4 Cobb, as somebody just said on the radio. So
yeah, no, that's exactly it. A draft strategy heading into the draft. I know you guys and your staff has been working pretty hard during the season, and it all comes to a head very, very soon. Where do the Steelheads select? You guys obviously are blessed with a lot of extra picks because of what you did during the trade deadline. Are we talking about a pretty heavy draft for the Steelheads coming up?
Yeah, you know what, we've been going pretty good. Obviously, it was a big year for our guys to be out scouting and whatnot. So we pick 12, and then we pick 51, 60, 61. So we've got 4 picks basically in the top 60 of this draft. So that should set us up down the road very nicely. So, going into it, you're trying to target a few guys where you think will be available, obviously, at 12. And then you go through a bit of a mock draft and try to figure out who's going to be there in the 3rd round. Yeah. But the issue is right now, we're pretty sure of who's going to be the top 4. And then after that, it's just it's clear as muddy water, as I said to the guys last night, because I left the rink about 9:30 last night. So we've got a few guys that we'd like to target. Whether they're available or not, we'll see. So right. We have the players in with their families to meet us and for us to meet them to see if it's a good fit. So we had a couple of those yesterday. We have a couple more today, and then again on Thursday. And all the scouts from across Ontario will come in on Friday, and we'll have all-day meetings Friday and Friday night. And I know that I'll stay down in Mississauga at the hotel and then be back at the rink for 6 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Okay. So realistically, and I know we're not going to get into names or anything like that. Just because
or names if you want.
At number 12, in a perfect world, 12 not only makes your team, but what kind of contribution does the number 12 make on this roster next year?
At number 12, you're looking for, we're going to get a good player, whether it's a defenseman or a forward.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be quite honest with you. I've got the guys in a mental pretzel right now because I'm not sure if it's going to be a D or a forward. So whoever it is going to play. So they're going to develop, that's for sure. But as for contribution, you don't want to put too much on a first-year player. It's the first time that they're going to be playing consistently against guys that are 2, 3, 4 years older. So, we don't really look for much other than getting their feet wet and kind of feeling their way around the league. So, I mean, if you look at Thomas Harley could be a first-round NHL pick this year. And I think if you go back and look at his first 2 or 3 months in the OHL, they were, unassuming, really. It was just kind of finding his way and whatnot. So we'll look to bring a high-end player in, obviously at 12, and then develop him into something that hopefully the NHL guys like.
Well, it's always the challenge, and I know that people are going to talk about Shane Wright, and he's obviously got all the right things going for him. The Don Mills Flyers are like a factory, for God's sakes, with the guys they turn out. But
he won't be available at 12.
No, he will not be. No, he will not be. Unless there's some shenanigans. Can you do that? Can you
with 11 teams?
Can you phone up Doug? Can you phone up Doug Gilmore and go, look? Here's what I got. The thing is, and very often I try to equate it to other sports, but I look at a guy like John Calipari at Kentucky, and so he gets the top recruits basically in the country every year. But he always says the same thing. He goes, look, for the first 3 months, as much as about beating the other team, he goes, these guys are kids. They just got out of high school. They never played together beforehand. I got to get these guys used to playing together the system that I want and playing as a team. And then, and by the time that happens, the tournament's here. It's such a quick turnaround. At least you have time with these kids. But I would suggest, JR, that the role's kind of the same. So whether you think the guy is a top 10, top 20 pick, whatever he happens to be at this level as a 16-year-old, we really don't know what he's going to be. So the guy who's 115th could be the best player in the entire draft. We just don't know yet, because 16 is a real hard age to me to say, yeah, I can definitely tell you where his career is going, because I don't think we do know.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. You don't know. You're going to try to get them in and start to teach them little things about their own game. Forget about the systems. We really try to focus on their own game, their skating, their puck skills, their puck decision making. That's the biggest thing. So I can guarantee you that these players coming in are gonna think, hey, if I can get some points tonight, JR is gonna play me more. And that's the farthest thing from the truth. If they can be trustworthy and do the right thing in the defensive zone so that we spend less time there, they will get more ice time. And then with more ice time comes more opportunity to get points. Because I can guarantee you, all the young kids coming in thinking, well, if I get a goal tonight, he's going to play me more. He's going to play me more. Or if I get a couple assists, JR's going to play me more. But that's just not it. It's if you can be trustworthy in the defensive zone so that we spend less time there, they will play more. And that's the biggest thing that you've got to try to get through to them. Because in minor hockey, and this is I'm not trying to take a shot at the coaches. I know it's going to come out as taking a shot at the coaches, but in minor hockey, the top guys or the guys that score are going to keep playing, whether they take bad penalties or if they don't get it out in the defensive zone, they'll continue to play. It's just, we've been watching it. And, so we've got to go through and kind of brainwash them to believe that the better and harder they defend without the puck, the more ice time they're going to get.
Interesting.
And that's the biggest thing.
So OHL draft happening, NHL draft happening in June. How many NHL teams have called you about Tom Harley just to know some background information about the young defenseman?
Every one of them.
Really, eh?
So today I'm going in. My first meeting is at 10, and I'm meeting with one of the NHL teams this morning. About our three guys, actually. I'm going in to meet about Harley and
excellent
and Washcrock and Schwinn. So, but every one of the NHL teams have contacted me or been in for meetings. This is my fourth meeting with this NHL team today. So, yeah, they're in all the time. I think because of the location we're in Mississauga, it's so easy for the NHL teams to come in and meet with me or meet with us about our players. So I think it's a great place to play. We've got a great facility there. We've got a great city. There's lots of things to do. There's universities close that, man, oh man, I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to play in Mississauga. So the NHL draft, so we've got this draft, then we get the midget draft. And then we've got our prospect camp or rookie camp, however you want to say it, on the 20th in Mississauga. And then we've got a little bit of time to work with the players. And then June, I'll be out to Vancouver for the NHL draft. And then right after that, we got our import draft. And July is a dead month. You're not allowed to do anything in July as far as trades and whatnot. So July is a little bit of time to do some homework on your team.
So you're coming up with some great stuff here. Import draft. You obviously don't have steelhead scouts in parts of Europe. How do you select players in an import draft? Because obviously you just met a goaltender on an opposition team that was selected high in the import draft. So how did the Wolves come about with him?
But too many consonants. I don't want a Uka Pekka Luukkonen. It's too hard, and it costs a lot of money for the printing. So I got to do something.
I got a feeling JR might disagree. How does an import draft work as far as scouting properly for some kid in the middle of Switzerland, in the middle of Sweden, in the middle of Finland?
Yeah, so you try to use your contacts that you have in the NHL. Hopefully you have those contacts. I would think that most of the guys in our league have that. And then for myself, I played over there for quite some time, so I still have some good buddies over there that are keeping an eye on some guys for me. And then we'll go through a list. We'll go through some film. We'll talk to their agents to see, how interested they are to come over to play in the CHL. So it's an ongoing basis all year. For me, I talk to guys over there, every week. There's some guys that come over and try to watch what we're doing here. So it's a constant communication, but really, it'll come down to, if it's not already, our list isn't already short enough at the draft in Vancouver, at the NHL draft, we'll try to meet with some NHL teams and see what they want. Because some of the NHL teams will come to us and say, hey, we want, Elias Peterson with you for this last year, junior, before he comes to us.
And you'll say yes.
And we'll say yes. We'll say yes. Yes, well, of course, we'd love to have him. So, like Alex Nylander came to us. What a terrific player. And Movarvi was through LA. He was with my connection with the Kings, with Mike Futa. So we've had some really, really good imports, and we're hoping to pick up two in late June.
Well, let me offer this, that both Dave and myself are willing to be scouts in Sweden or the Czech Republic and live in Prague. If this is the path that I need to take, JR, I am willing to make that sacrifice.
Well, I can tell you that Sweden is very expensive, and Prague is a beautiful city, and lots of things, a lot of nightlife to offer you, and a lot less expensive than anywhere in Sweden. Because I remember being in Stockholm, and I went out after a game with some of the guys, and I thought, well, I'll buy a couple of beers for the guys, and a beer was over $12 each. And this was, I want to tell you, back in the late 80s and early 90s. And I looked at the guy. I thought, is it a special beer? Is it just a regular beer? It's over $12. So I think you should choose Prague.
I will. I would. That's awesome. You take care, and we'll talk to you real soon, my friend. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Take care.
You just got your morning drive back. Raw Mike Richards on News Talk Sauga 960 with traffic on the fives, featuring the best and most detailed West End traffic in the GTA. Raw Mike Richards and traffic on the fives, exclusively on News Talk Sauga 960.